She didn't have anybody to talk to. And she was like, Narcos, right? And I was like...
Fat Albert dancing, yeah, exactly.
Most celebrities have a look when things get awkward. A little laugh, a deflection, oh wow, great question. Pedro Pascal does not have that look. What Pedro Pascal has is this. That makes this man interesting. He is, by almost every account, one of the warmest people in Hollywood. He cries talking about his fans, he remembers people's names, he's the internet's dad, boyfriend, and emotional support system all at once. But warmth doesn't mean doormat, and charm doesn't mean spineless. The same man who will hug a crying stranger at a convention will absolutely freeze you out with a single look if you cross a line. That tension, that's what makes these moments so satisfying. Let's get into it. Number 10, and we're starting gentle because this one isn't explosive, it's the opposite, it's controlled. Pedro Pascal has been on more press tours than most people have had hot meals at this point. The Last of Us, The Mandalorian, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, Strange Way of Life, Gladiator II, that's a lot of interviewers. Most of them are great, some of them push. And when an interviewer pushes into territory that is none of their business, his family, his dating life, things he has chosen not to discuss publicly, Pedro does something that is almost more devastating than snapping. He pauses, he looks at them, he lets the silence do the work, and then he smiles, not warmly, and he moves on to the next question on his own terms. It is the most polite possible way of saying, "We are not doing that," and somehow it lands harder than anything he could have said out loud. Zero tolerance. Ice cold, number 10.
Day long, this hasn't happened in a while, you know. I'm going to be longing and I'm going to think about it all day long.
You had already got the call that you got the job?
Yeah, it was like, oh, congratulations, so
I wouldn't
happy.
be sitting here today. Pedro Pascal missing. Grogu not missing. Tell us about your slutty little knee? What are you talking about?
Number 9. The internet has a Pedro Pascal quote problem, and that problem is half of them aren't real. You've seen them, beautifully formatted, slightly philosophical, posted by accounts with names like Cinema Feelings and Soft Boy quotes. Thousands of retweets, hundreds of thousands of likes.
This man, Oscar Isaac.
I'm a bigger daddy than him. I'm older than him. Although he's a real daddy, he's got kids and I don't. But daddy is a state of mind, you know what I'm saying?
That goes out.
What item from the Game of Thrones world would you bring to The Last of Us?
I really loved my robe.
I have too much confidence that I could...
I said what I said, and what I didn't say. Get it right. The tolerance for fictional Pedro? Absolute zero. Number 9. Congratulations, presumably. What followed was a press gauntlet where every single interviewer, and I mean every single one, wanted to talk about how he looked, how it felt to be desired, whether he'd always been this handsome, what his skincare routine was.
Internal organs. I don't know if it goes so great anymore. We'll find out.
There's only one way to find out.
There is only one
Are
way
you
to
ready to get started?
And look, he handled it with grace. He laughed, he was charming, he played the game because that's what that particular press moment required. But watch closely. Watch his eyes when the third interviewer in a row asks him something that has nothing to do with the decade of craft work he's put in. The Mando, Joel Miller, two of the most emotionally complex performances of his generation. There's a moment, brief, contained, where you can see the calculation happening. Is this my life now? Is this what we're doing? Interaction under "we will not speak of this." Zero tolerance for being reduced to a jawline. Number 8. That deliberate, measured ownership of his own narrative is a kind of zero tolerance that doesn't look like anger. I want to be clear about something before we get into this one. Pedro Pascal loves his fans. This is not a bit, this is not PR. The man has literally cried in public, on camera, multiple times, talking about what fan support has meant to him. He knows what it's like to be a struggling actor. He knows what it's like to not know if the career is going to work out. Fan love means something real to him. And because of that, because the love is real, the violation of it hits differently. There are moments on red carpets, at conventions, outside venues, where someone decides that love entitles them to something. A photo without asking, a grab, a follow past where they should stop, and you can see in real time the warmth drain from his face, not into anger, into something colder, a professionalism that says, "We are done here." He never makes a scene, he never escalates, he just withdraws completely. And somehow that's more final than anything else. Adoration is not ownership. Pedro Pascal knows the difference, and when someone confuses the two, they find out immediately. Number 6. Number 5. Pedro Pascal is not a stay-in-your-lane celebrity. He has opinions. He posts them. He stands behind them. In late 2023, he was vocal about human rights issues in a way that made a lot of people uncomfortable, including, it's worth noting, some of his own industry. When you take positions on geopolitical conflicts, you are not going to keep everyone happy. That is mathematically impossible. And interviewers, knowing this, sensing the controversy, tried repeatedly to get him to either walk it back or double down in a way that would make a clip. He did neither. What he did was answer on his own terms. He explained his position. He acknowledged complexity. He refused to be packaged into a headline. And when someone tried to reframe what he'd said into something more digestible and more dangerous, he corrected them, gently, specifically, and without any apology for having had the opinion in the first place. You can agree or disagree with his politics, but you cannot say he's not consistent. Smart people don't bite hooks. Number 5. Number 4. This one requires no words from Pedro Pascal because he didn't say any. Award shows are strange ecosystems. You are surrounded by your peers, cameras are everywhere, and things happen on stage that you may have very strong feelings about, but you are on television, so you must perform appropriate celebrity behavior at all times. Pedro Pascal has, on multiple occasions, forgotten that last part. Not in an explosive way, not in a we need to cut to commercial way, just his face responds to stimuli in real time, authentically, completely. There are moments caught on camera, clipped, studied, where something happens nearby or on stage and his expression does an entire 7-episode character arc in about 4 seconds. No words, no gesture, just the face of a man who has opinions and is approximately 60% successful at keeping them internal. It is genuinely one of the most entertaining recurring content sources of the past 3 years. His face is a document, an archive, a gift. Zero tolerance for pretending he doesn't have thoughts. Number 4. Number 3. Here is a thing that happened. Pedro Pascal spent significant portions of 3 seasons of one of the biggest television productions in history with his face completely hidden inside a metal helmet. And some people, well-meaning people, interviewers with limited time, people who maybe didn't think it all the way through, asked him some version of, "But doesn't that limit you? Isn't that frustrating? We can't even see your face." Now, Pedro Pascal has studied acting seriously. He has worked for decades in an industry that didn't always have space for him. He built a career through persistence that most people would have abandoned. And he knows, because any serious actor knows, that performance is not just the face. It is the way your shoulders carry weight, the specific tempo of your breath. Number 2. There is a thing that happened. Fame comes with an unofficial clause that nobody agrees to. The public will decide things about you. Who you love, how you identify, what you really are underneath the roles. Pedro Pascal has been the subject of speculation on this front for years. His warmth, his fashion choices, his deep and public support for his sister Lux, who is a trans woman, and his refusal to perform a particular kind of performative masculinity have all at various points become fodder. Tabloids have run items, fan theories have circulated, interviewers have asked questions that are really asking a different question. His response has been consistently one of the most elegant possible. He simply doesn't engage with the premise. He talks about his sister with love. He talks about the LGBTQ+ community with commitment. He talks about his own life on exactly the terms he chooses, no more, no less. And the questions that are really trying to box him into a category, they don't land. They slide right off. Not because he's defensive, because he genuinely does not seem to believe he owes anyone a label. And that settled certainty, that quiet, I know who I am and I don't need you to confirm it, is its own kind of zero tolerance. Number 2. Of the most famous people on Earth in his late 40s, after decades of supporting roles, after years of being excellent in things that didn't quite break through, after a career path that would have broken most people's commitment to the work. And when he finally got there, when The Mandalorian happened, when The Last of Us happened, the pressure to now be careful with that fame must have been enormous. He ignored it completely. He cried in interviews talking about what the characters meant to him. He posted about human rights on social media, knowing it would cost him followers. He talked openly about his family, his mother, who passed away when he was young, his sister, Lux, with a vulnerability that Hollywood doesn't usually permit its leading men. He showed up to every press event as a specific, opinionated, feeling, complicated human being. Not a brand, not a persona, a person. And that is the zero tolerance that matters most. Not the freeze-outs, not the corrected records, not the award show eyebrows, though those are truly elite content. The real zero tolerance is the one he has for shrinking himself, for becoming a more palatable version of Pedro Pascal so that Pedro Pascal stays marketable. He didn't do it when he was a struggling actor. He's not doing it now. And I think that's the thing the internet recognized before the industry did. You can't manufacture that kind of specific, stubborn, warm, infuriating, lovable authenticity. You can only encounter it and be grateful. Zero tolerance, infinite self. Number 1. Pedro Pascal does not owe the internet anything. He doesn't owe us access or quotes or opinions or tears, but he gives them anyway, on his terms, in his time, in the way that feels true to him. That combination, generosity with limits, warmth with a spine, is rarer than fame, and it's why we're still making videos about him. If you're new here, subscribe. We cover the moments that actually tell you something real about the people the world won't stop talking about. And Pedro Pascal, trust me, has more moments.